I confronted my boyfriend about his coworker, a guy who confessed his feelings for him, tried to convince him to cheat, badmouthed me, and ended up getting drunk with my boyfriend alone until 4 a.m. Our first anniversary was forgotten in the mess, and I finally had to demand a conversation about boundaries, honesty, and what loyalty means in a relationship. So here's the story. For context, I'm Lily, 26 female, and my boyfriend is Tom, 25 male. This all started with a scheduling slip. Tom made plans with his work friends on the exact day of our very first anniversary. We'd both mixed up the date. Life's been ridiculously busy, and our work schedules almost never line up, so when he told me about the plans, I didn't realize the clash. We'd talked about our anniversary all month, but neither of us had the actual day in mind. When Tom first mentioned the hangout, I didn't put two and two together, so I told him to go have fun with his friends. Only after did it hit me. That day was our anniversary. I know, it's kind of silly, but missing this first celebration really hurt me. I keep thinking, why did he make plans that day? I mean, I got the date wrong too, so I can't really judge him, but it still stung. I wondered if I should tell him I was upset, but I'd already told him to go out, and his friends were counting on him. When I did mention belatedly that our anniversary landed that day, he didn't suggest changing plans or doing something before or after. Secretly, I wished he had. Honestly, part of me wanted to ask work for a day off, maybe squeeze in some couple time with Tom before his thing, but he's always been weird about double booking. Once he's got plans, that's it. I know we could celebrate another day, and there will be more anniversaries ahead, but this one felt like a lost moment. Is it even worth bringing up to him, or would that just add useless guilt? Commenters gave pretty balanced advice. Don't ask him to cancel plans or stack more on an already busy day. Instead, set up something special for another day and just be honest about being a bit sad over the mix-up. I realized jamming couples time onto his packed day would just make everything stressful. So I decided to just let it go and make sure we plan a proper celebration soon. Update 1. Now, this is where things really start getting complicated. Tom has this work friend, let's call him Martin, 26M. And well, Martin confessed he had strong feelings for Tom. This post is about to get long, so thank you for sticking with me. Some background. Martin and Tom work together and have been friends for a while. Martin's out as gay, and I'd met him a few times, no issues. We always got along fine. But a few months back, this incident happened. After a work night out, Tom and Martin, who live on the same street, were dropped off at Martin's place with plans for Tom to walk the rest of the way home. That night, I messaged Tom before bed, and around 3 a.m., he texted that he was on his way home. I was asleep by then. Next morning, I woke up and saw that message, along with another at 5 a.m., saying he was home. That was weird, because the walk should only take about half an hour. I assumed maybe he just forgot to update me. When I asked him about his night, he claimed everyone got dropped off together, and the ride was long, but that didn't explain the hour-and-a-half gap between messages. I specifically asked if he'd ended up back at Martin's, and he said no. Something felt off. He's usually an open book, but now I could tell he was hiding something. On our next date night, he finally admitted there was more to that story. As Tom walked away from Martin's house, Martin chased after him, declaring he'd had feelings for Tom for who knows how long, and wanted something to happen between them. Tom said he was shocked, reminded Martin he was straight and dating me, but Martin still pressed. Was Tom even the least bit interested? Tom insisted, no. I wasn't super mad at first, just uncomfortable Martin had hit on him. But I did ask Tom why he didn't just tell me any of this straight away. He said he thought it upset me. When I pressed further, Tom said Martin also used the opportunity to badmouth me, saying I wasn't good enough and Tom could do better. That, honestly, stung. Not only was he encouraging my boyfriend to cheat, he was actively disrespecting and insulting me in the process. Apparently, Tom and Martin ended up talking in the rain for a whole hour. Tom even joked about it being the most romantic thing anyone's done for him, which I did not find funny. And while he claims he made it clear Martin's behavior was not okay, I'm still not sure how forceful he was about defending me. Ever since that came out, I've been really uneasy about the Tom-Martin friendship. I don't want to be controlling, but Martin definitely crossed a line. They still spend a lot of time together because they work together, hang out on their days off, etc. And honestly, as the months go by, my discomfort only grows. Yesterday, I posted about Tom making plans with his coworkers on our anniversary. They were meant to play D&D, and Martin came to Tom's apartment at 6:30 p.m. to help him create his character. Tom made it sound like it would be a group thing, but it was just Martin, which I only realized because we were on FaceTime when Martin showed up and Tom abruptly hung up. He said he'd call after Martin left, acting like it'd be early. Midnight rolls around, no call. I messaged asking if he was free. He replied that Martin was still there and they were having drinks. I gave up and just went to bed, had work the next day anyway, and we agreed to talk tomorrow. When we did call, Tom was insanely hungover. Martin had left at 4 a.m. after they drank margaritas, having lost track of time. I asked what exactly they were doing for all those hours, and Tom said making his D&D character took 3-ish hours. Then Martin wanted to learn DJ stuff. Tom makes music/DJs, and time slipped away. Tom seeing Martin again that night for the D&D session itself. This whole thing really gnawed at me. It makes me uncomfortable for Tom to spend all night one-on-one with someone who has clearly hit on him and insulted me. I know Tom is straight, but honestly, I'd feel the same if this was a girl who tried it with him. Even if nothing happened, it feels like he's entertaining Martin's attention, especially after Martin disrespected our relationship. Should I say something to Tom? How would I even bring it up? Replying to commenters, someone asked about Tom's background and if religion or family plays a role, or if Tom's maybe seeking attention. Tom actually has a Protestant mom, baptized him, but he never did confirmation, doesn't practice. His dad and siblings aren't religious, and he has a gay uncle, so family wouldn't freak out if Tom was bi-gay. And yeah, I can't say 100% Tom isn't into guys, but I do trust him. It just makes things tough when there's so much secrecy. One point people raised, that Tom might just like the attention, did make sense. He is a people pleaser, and maybe he thinks it's harmless, while it actually makes me super insecure. I realized what bothers me isn't the sexuality piece, but the drama and disrespect to our relationship. Some other people asked if Tom hiding this was a red flag for me. Absolutely, not telling me really bothered me, and I do worry. For now, I choose to trust him. We have each other's phone passwords and share our locations, so I feel like if anything sketchy was going on, he wouldn't be so open with that stuff. Still, maybe he's not realizing how much this hurts me, or he's downplaying it to himself. One commenter floated the idea that maybe Tom doesn't know how to shut Martin down, worried about being called homophobic, especially since Martin is now actually Tom's supervisor at work, which happened after Martin confessed. I'd never thought about that, but it could be a factor. Tom's super conflict avoidant, and Martin might get ugly if he felt rejected for his sexuality. And of course, someone pointed out the obvious. If it was a girl confessing her feelings and Tom got drunk and partied all night alone with her, nobody would think it was appropriate. Why is it different because it's a gay guy? At a minimum, Tom's avoiding boundaries and feeding Martin's hope. I told Tom we needed to have a serious talk ASAP. He was at his D&D game but promised to call once he got home. Update 2. Thanks for all the advice. Genuinely, Tom and I had a long talk last night, thanks in large part to everyone's perspectives. He called me after getting back from D&D, and I dove right in. I was more forceful than I'd ever been before, and I think it caught him off guard. I told him straight up, spending all night alone drinking with Martin, someone who has openly tried it on with him and dissed me, crosses a line. He seemed honestly shocked that I cared so much. So I explained, you don't hang out till 4 a.m., just the two of you, acting like nothing happened. There need to be boundaries now, period. Tom defended himself by saying Martin confessed months ago that he's over it and probably never even meant it anyway. He insists he's not gay bi, never felt anything that way, and Martin's crush was just drunken nonsense. I told him it didn't matter if he took it seriously. What matters is I do. And their whole night together was wildly disrespectful to me and to us. If it was a girl, he'd call it inappropriate instantly. Why is he making excuses now? Tom struggled with that comparison, insisting it's different. With a girl, there's an obvious risk of sex attraction, but there's not with Martin. I said that's nonsense. If anyone's confessed and propositioned you, boy or girl, there's always a risk. Especially when you two are drunk and alone, and already spent an hour talking about feelings in the rain. I told him that, at the very least, he's showing Martin there's no consequence for shit-talking me and for coming on to him. Even if Tom thinks they're back to normal, Martin's probably thinking he still has a chance. Tom insisted it wasn't intentional. He didn't realize it was that late, honestly. When I called at midnight, he knew I was still awake. Why didn't he send Martin home then? He got a little offended that I called the whole thing shady, saying I must not trust him, but I told him this is about respect and boundaries, not just trust. Tom described how the evening went. 3 hours making his D&D character and beers, then a group FaceTime with the other D&D guy that lasted hours, then showing Martin how to DJ and produce music. He says he only realized the time when it was almost 4 a.m. For Tom, he and Martin are back to normal friends, like nothing happened. I told him that's impossible. Once someone's crossed the line, things have to be different. Otherwise, Martin will interpret Tom's attention as an opening. He said after Martin's confession, he did try to pull back, except at work, which is most of the time anyway. But he claims they haven't really hung out alone at each other's places since then. I'm not convinced, but I have no proof. He did admit things were more awkward for a while, though he never showed me that on the outside. Apparently, Martin recently apologized, saying he didn't mean what he said, and Tom decided to forgive and forget because it was months ago. I told Tom he can forgive, sure, but he can't pretend it never happened. It now means their friendship needs new boundaries for our relationship's sake. I asked why he never told me about the apology, and he said he didn't think it was a big issue for me. That led me to bring up a pattern. Tom keeps these things to himself or tells me half-truths, both with Martin now and previously. I pointed out that if anyone ever made a pass at me, he'd know immediately. And in fact, when a friend of mine, let's call him Ben, groped me and confessed his feelings, I called Tom that same night. He was traveling, because I knew I'd see Ben at future group events and wanted everything out in the open. Tom tried to say my scenario with Ben wasn't the same and that maybe I hadn't been clear, but it felt like he was just trying to defend his choices. I asked if he'd be okay with me hanging out, getting drunk with Ben all night. He said obviously not, but still insisted the two situations weren't equal. After a lot more back and forth, Tom apologized for upsetting and worrying me, insisting he never had any intention of being disrespectful, just didn't realize how serious it was for me. He said maybe he was naive, and that with Martin now his supervisor, distancing himself got harder because Martin controls his shifts and vacation time. He asked if I wanted him to cut off Martin totally. He said he'll try putting in more boundaries, especially after work hours. But it's tough when you work together and socialize as a group. Tom does regret things got this complicated, but said Martin had always been a good friend, up until all of this. I told him if Martin was really a good friend, he wouldn't have put Tom, or me, in this position. I explained I don't expect Tom to be rude at work or refuse any group events, but out-of-office one-on-ones should be off-limits. Tom agreed, saying if it makes me uncomfortable, he'll avoid being alone with Martin from now on. He honestly didn't know I felt this strongly. Tom's also actively looking for a new job, so soon enough Martin hopefully won't be in his day-to-day life. We're planning another talk tonight to go over the bigger communication/trust issues between us. But for now, I thank everyone who validated my feelings. I truly don't think I would have confronted Tom if it wasn't for all your support. That brings this story to a close. This story really highlights the complicated lines between friendship, boundaries, and respect in relationships, especially when work and personal life get tangled. Sometimes people need explicit, uncomfortable conversations to realize a partner's perspective and protect what matters. What do you think? What do you think if your partner's friend confessed their feelings and then wanted to hang out with them one-on-one all night? Would you see it as crossing a line or just harmless?